Hello, everyone. This is Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Welcome to the One Bitcoin Show. Today is January the 6th. That's a familiar date. 2024. Strong hand, long-term thinking. Bitcoin is the next Bitcoin. Be an elite beast, one day closer to an all-time high. I'm offended by selling. HalvingHype. Hello, my elite friends. It is late night in Salt Lake City. Well, it's not that late here, but it's later on the East Coast. Yeah, how my West Coast brothers doing tonight? How's everybody around the world? I don't do this at popular times. I do it when I feel like it. And guys, you could 2x this show, played at 2x. We're going to get to the points real quick. You can fast forward through this. Come on now. Don't have a short-term memory problem here. Don't be impulsive. Don't leave. Yeah, come on, stick with it. Bitcoin always returns to its all-time high. We're in 2024, the year of the halving, man. Hey, so we're going to talk about some very specific things today. And they are, and I can't find where I have them written down, but it's the name of the darn show here. Let me read it out for you. Ordinals strengthen the Bitcoin brand. I'm going to explain what that means. I'm going to talk about where I'm going to explain my views on the Bitcoin ETF. But guess what? There's going to be an Ethereum ETF too, probably. And is that going to lead to institutional staking of Ethereum? And are we in one of those periods where everyone's saying Ethereum's dead? Have we lived through this before? Do people just keep repeating the same things every 4 years? We'll see. Hey, I'm going to talk about the BRICS. There's some big names out there, and it's way beyond Bitcoin. It's people talking about politics and money and all sorts of worldly philosophical issues. David Sachs on the All In podcast, he's like scared of the BRICS. I'm going to explain to you why it's so ridiculous. And we'll get into Israel at the end, all sorts of things. Guys, ask questions. Do the super chat. That gets my attention. Type in Bitcoin Meister. And because people do the super chat, I want to thank Nomee Nome, his name is, Jacknife, Taval, Big Sean Harris, Marco Esquandolez, Sightseeing TV, Alpha Network, Henry Law, and Craig Shipp. We raised $100, and that's why you're getting this show tonight. That is your reward. If we can raise another 100, we'll have another One Bitcoin show really, really soon. So hello, Zach, and hello, Andy, and hello, everyone that is watching this live. Keep those questions coming. And now we're 3 minutes into the show. I hope you only won at 90 seconds in if you played it at 2x. And now it is time to talk about a great point that Dan Held made at Unconfiscatable in Las Vegas. It was a month ago I was there, and I meant to share this. And he was talking about ordinals and inscriptions and how some people are very annoyed by them. And we talked about a little bit about this last show and some previous shows, but I'm going to attack it from a different angle because this was like the best thing I learned at Unconfiscatable. I really give Dan Held credit. Crypto asked, and I tweeted about this, as some of you are familiar. Follow me on Twitter at TechBalt, TECHBALT. I'm on there every single day. Crypto assets built on blockchains get buyers into the mindsets of those chains. This is me summarizing what he said. If you buy ordinals, which is a digital asset, and you end up selling for Bitcoin, you value your wealth in Bitcoin. If you buy Ethereum NFTs and you sell them for Ethereum, you value your wealth in Ethereum. You get used to that. So if Bitcoin can attract some people that never would have valued their wealth in Bitcoin, getting them to use Ethereum, to use ordinals, to use inscriptions, to use who knows what crazy digital asset they build on Bitcoin. Some people think, no, it's just pure money. And indeed, the Bitcoin itself on the Bitcoin network, yeah, it is pure money, but they're doing other things. They're doing other things now for various reasons. People figured out ways around it. Some people are angry about it. But those other things are bringing people to the Bitcoin network, and they're teaching people to value their wealth in Bitcoin. Or I mean, you could have it so that you couldn't do inscriptions or NFTs or whatever you want to call them on Bitcoin, and everyone would just go to Ethereum and Solana, and they would value their wealth in Ethereum and Solana, and the more people let's take it from a network effect perspective. The more people you have using the network for whatever darn reason, the more people that are going to be attracted to the network, the more value that the network is going to generate. So you might not like these ordinals, but it's bringing more people to Bitcoin, thus generating more value because the network, the Bitcoin network, the number of users is increasing. You might not like what they're using it for, but you can't deny that more and more people are using it. So more people are valuing their wealth in Bitcoin. More people are on the Bitcoin network, and thus, we're going to end up with more people. The network effect, because of the network effect, if you believe in that, we're more and more popular, strengthens everything. Bitcoin continues to blow away the competition through something that we did not expect to bring people here. And I love the whole mindset of, if you start doing other things on other chains, you get into the mindset of that chain. You want more of the underlying asset. So good. People want more of the Bitcoin underlying asset. Pound that freaking like button for Bitcoin. And I want to remind everybody of something with these NFTs. And I've talked about digital assets, how we are in a time of digital abundance, how any Joe Schmo out there can just make something digital now. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. This futuristic world we live in. But even though you can make so many of these NFTs and digital assets and all this crazy stuff, people find value in NFTs. Okay? Deal with that reality, people. That's a reality. You might not like it, but is it not obvious? If you deny it, you're denying something that's right in front of your face. I really don't know what to make of you. You deny reality. Do you think a man is a woman too? People value these NFTs. People value these ordinals. People value these inscriptions. Just wanted to point that out to you. I've got this realist bent to me, should we say. I'm a confident decentralist. I can be very comfortable with people liking things that I don't like. I know that people like Max Kaiser. Even though he's the Liz Warren of El Salvador, people like an authoritarian woman like Max Kaiser or Liz Warren to tell them what to do and to try to ban things and say, no, you cannot have altcoins. That's what the woman down in El Salvador does. And the woman in Massachusetts, she doesn't think you should have any cryptocurrency and everything. These are people that are trying to micromanage your lives, whatever. They're very similar. So, Max Kaiser, the Liz Warren of El Salvador. But I don't like them. No, I'm not fans of theirs, but no, they can exist. I don't want them destroyed. No, this is I do not deny that people love them. People love them. Oh my God. Do they lick the tuchluses of these people? They would lick them clean. Literally they would do this. The people that are moving to El Salvador just to do that, in fact. All right. So, what is this? Oh yeah. I will quickly clarify my take on Bitcoin ETF, which really might be happening this week. It's occurring at its proper time during the Bitcoin halving cycle. It'll help pump it closer to an all-time high. Bitcoin always returns to its all-time high. I don't see it going to $69,000 the week it happens. I got a conservative approach. It'll pump it. I don't think we're going to hit 69,000 again until after the halving. Yeah, probably in October or November or something like that. But because we have these Bitcoin ETFs at that point, and they'll be, it's going to take a while for people to get used to them and start buying into them. There'll be all sorts of excuses once the Bitcoin ETFs launch why they're not doing well at first. Not enough people could figure out how to buy it, or there's too many people trying to, and they really didn't own the Bitcoin. There'll be problems. There'll probably be some problems. But I think it'll all fall into place very nicely around November or October. And so it's great for Bitcoin. It is, in the long run, it is great for Bitcoin. And more people are going to be buying it. are going to have BlackRock buy it for them and pretend they sort of own it, kind of. But no, BlackRock isn't taking over Bitcoin. The evil banksters that Max Kaiser's scared about, that he scapegoats about constantly for 12 years. No, they don't exist, and they're not trying to take over Bitcoin because there's no conspiracies, or it's, they're people that work at banks and big financial institutions want to make money, and if sometimes the government gives them fascist benefits, well, they take advantage of these things. It's unfortunate that the government can be bribed, but Liz Warren, all sorts of people can be bribed in all sorts of governments, apparently, maybe even in El Salvador. Nomee Nome comes down with $20 again. He says Bitcoin only. Dude, that is your prerogative. Bitcoin is the next Bitcoin, obviously. But dude, I am not trying to start a Bitcoin. I'm not trying to be Swan here. Adam Meister is not Swan, because he knows that eventually they kind of have to compromise, because you can't run a Bitcoin only exchange. There's all sorts of things going on. It's a gimmick there with what's his face in California. He's an okay guy. They got to do what they got to do. But eventually, if you want to be, if you really want to make a lot of money, and I'm just commenting on the Bitcoin only saying in terms of Swan. I don't think you meant it that way. You meant that Bitcoin is the next Bitcoin. People should value their wealth in freaking Bitcoin, and thus ordinals are good. But Corey, I don't even think he likes ordinals. I'm not gonna put words in the dude's mouth, but. So some people are a little frustrated with Corey right now because he's not pure. That's the thing. When you mess with the, you can say Bitcoin only, dude, but I am not going to be down with the Bitcoin Inquisition. If somebody wants to do something else, let them do something else. Who cares? And so these, eventually the Bitcoin Inquisition eats itself, and maybe you could see that a little bit with Corey in Los Angeles and his gimmick. He's been nice to me though. I can't complain. And he's very polite online to most people. Zach Allen says, I have a Bitcoin theory where it is a government protocol where the first app has to be money in order to incentivize mines. Then we can build applications to decentralize government. Well, are you saying that there should be a startup government that uses Bitcoin as its backbone? That would be kind of cool. I hope you're not saying that Bitcoin was some conspiracy of the United States government, because that's not true. All right, so let's move on. But if it's the prior thing I said, that's very smart. How long till BlackRock is FTX? Laugh out loud. No, they won't be, because FTX was completely fake. I don't think it was just like they stole their clients' money completely. And BlackRock actually owns many assets. Oh, look, Marty's Owl is in the house. I thought of you the other day, but I think you tweeted about me or something like that. You've been on the show before, or you've been on long ago. You were on This Week in Bitcoin. You're a veteran. You're hardcore, man. Okay. Okay. Which ETF will lose its keys first? I saw that. Unfortunately, this is another ETF prediction. There'll be something related to the ETFs. It probably won't be until 2026, because that's going to be the 4-year cycle. That's the off year. I don't even know if it'll be related to the ETFs, but guys, every cycle we have a disaster that's worse than the previous one. So something will dwarf FTX, unfortunately, and it very much could be something like an ETF. Losing the keys to the Bitcoin, or just something really that we cannot even imagine. And I don't wish this upon any third party. It's not good for Bitcoin, because guess what? Most normies, I predict for the rest of the decade, most Bitcoin holders will remain not true. They won't be self-custody. They'll let Coinbase or somebody else hold it for them. I know a lot of you, it's your dream. You think all these normies are just all of a sudden miraculously going to know about multi-sigs. It's so ridiculous. They won't even have Trezors or ledgers or anything like that. They would just leave it at Coinbase. Yeah, it's too complicated still. Like, dude, if my mother even bought Bitcoin, she would just leave it at Coinbase. But I mean, the positive thing is there that most normies that actually own Bitcoin do not even know how to send a Bitcoin. Literally, if you have that skill, you can find a way to make money. People laugh, and it's not a skill, Adam. No, it actually is a skill to understand what you're doing, to be able to copy and paste that address and know what that address is, and then send Bitcoin, type a number. I mean, the people that buy on Coinbase, they don't know how to do that. They just leave it on Coinbase. They don't know. So yeah, all right. But yeah, that it'll remain like that for the foreseeable future till the end of this decade. Okay. I wanted to see, can I do a poll? How do you do a poll? Engage with your audience. Let's see. Oh, start a poll. I really could do a start a poll. Nah, I can't think of it. Here's a stupid one. This is what people are here to see. I'm not going to say what I wrote. It's only for the live viewers there. I just sent out a poll. Let's see. All right. Get some engagement. Pound that like button there. By the way, people, a health tip that deals with the poll. I'm in Salt Lake City. It's getting colder. There's beautiful snow out there. I take cold showers every day. I don't wash my hair every day. I wash it like once a week. It was so cold when I had brain freeze when I was washing my hair today. I mean, it was so cold, the water. I literally almost, I don't know, not passed out. I can't say. I was in a different mindset for a brief second. I wasn't going to pass out. It's wrong. But it was like brain freeze, but like I can't even explain it. But the hair turned out all right, I think. All right, we talked about, Dan, how people value. We talked about that. We talked about my ETF. We had a little poll there. All right, so let's talk about a big doom theme that reaches across YouTube. Is that, apparently the entire world hates the United States. It hates the West. And it wants to be friends with BRICS type countries. That's Brazil and Russia and India and China and South Africa. And they're adding new ones, like, just lovely countries like Iran and Ethiopia. What other ones? No, well, they were going to add Argentina, but then they got a real leader who rejected them. And because he realizes what are the other ones? Iran, United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia. Each one has some more cons than others. Some are all right. I mean, UAE is okay. Yeah, UAE is pretty good. Out of all of those ones, I think UAE is best. I think I mentioned like 10 there. I'm skipping somebody. But my point is that there's a big thing across Doom YouTube, across even Rational YouTube, and whether it be Bitcoin money, philosophy, you can hear Jordan Peterson even bring up BRICS and stuff. Is that the BRICS are changing the world, multipolar, and people. These are growing countries, and they're going to lead to a brave new world without the evil the United States is evil. We're in America. We don't realize that everybody hates us. Everybody really hates American culture, and nobody wants to be here. And this new China way, yeah, that's the way. That's the way. Everyone's going that way. All these all these leaders who aren't corrupt at all. No, not at all. They're not corrupt, and they run their country so nicely. They're all gravitating toward this BRICS and going away from the United States, and we should be scared. David Sachs, who's a smart man, and I like this about David Sachs because it shows. I agree with David Sachs on a lot of things that he says. He's on the All In podcast, smart venture capitalist, but you can see I'm a unique beast. I'm not blindly following what this dude says. He's all in with the BRICS. I mean, he's like, oh, one of the big developments in 2023 was the realignment toward the BRICS, blah, 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 Dude, I mean, here we go. It's such hype. And I've mentioned this before. I mentioned different aspects of this before. Let's just take South Africa. It's a lovely country. A lot of natural resources. And for the last 30 years now, what have they done? What have they done? Oh, there's been a very nice story about Nelson Mandela, and we can talk. Now he's dead, and we can, make him out to be an angel and everything, and not, talk about Winnie Mandela and and lighting the tires on fire. No, we can forget all about that. That's fine. That culture, no, nothing about that culture exists anymore. No, don't worry. That's in the past. Now in South Africa, the culture revolves around the power going out every single day. Every single day, the power goes off, but you don't hear about it. No. It's great. It's a great country. It's up and coming. They can't keep the power on, because the ANC, they run the power company, and they do a very lovely job, don't they? Very lovely job. All the natural resources in the world in that country, they can't run the power company. But no, it's great. The BRICS are great. They're very great. Brazil, have you been? And again, I've been to South Africa. Have you been to South Africa? I've been to South Africa. I see that the supermarkets, once it gets dark, you can't go to the supermarkets anymore. That people live behind walls that have barbed wire on them. And if your fence falls down, you immediately get your house broken into. That happened to my friend in South Africa. Hey, I mean, they just stole some stuff. They didn't try to kill him or anything like that. So that's great, right? And then in Brazil, you're in Rio, and it's we can't drink the water there. We'll get sick. It's gross. And there's favelas or whatever they're called. I mean, poverty that you can go to the worst ghetto in Chicago, in Baltimore, in Detroit, and it's many times better than what you see in Brazil. And also in South Africa, when you're going from the airport in Cape Town to Cape Town, you see these townships. The township that you could not even visit these townships, or you will be injured, or you probably will be killed. But again, these are great countries, great countries. And then, India, filthy, filled with people, just unbelievable. And are they a fair? Are they a democracy that's very fair? No, they're very corrupt. Everyone is bribed. No one does work. And just Russia, a very, very nice place. People, of course, it's good temperature. Good. They just go to war with whoever they want to. Send man after man to just get cannon fodder. They treat you like cannon fodder. You're just kind of cannon fodder for them in Russia. Very, very nice place. Sure, lovely place. But again, people are aligned. They see that Putin is strong. So these little African countries that are having coups, they like these countries. They like China. They like Russia. So we should be worried in America because corrupt African countries that have coups, they admire South Africa. They admire their leadership. I was in Mozambique. There are many streets in, what's the main city in Mozambique that I was in? I forgot it. Maputo. When I was in Maputo, they're named after all sorts of communists, African communists, Chinese communists. So, a country like Mozambique, which is incredibly poor and filthy, they admire these great BRICS nations. They want to grow up. They want to be in the BRICS Mozambique. It would be a dream. So we should be worried about this in the United States, shouldn't we? Because what's kind of funny? So a lot of these countries that I mentioned, why are the people trying to sneak into our country? Why are the people trying to sneak into the West? I don't understand. In Ethiopia, I think only 30% of the people have access to toilets. Literally, they have to go to the bathroom on the beach. I mean, these are things we should worry about. What these countries think about the United States. What do they contribute to the world? What do they really? All they do is complain. And then the smart people are willing to risk so much to come here, or to go to Italy, or to go to wherever, a civilized nation, the West. They want to go to the West. These people that live in these BRICS nations, they want to get the heck out of these nations. How many people from the United States are trying to get into Russia and Brazil and India? How many? Really? Tell me. Or Iran. How many people are trying to get into Iran or Ethiopia? I mean, from the United States. I don't know. How much? What do these countries produce? Really? What does Ethiopia produce? Where's Iran? Iran produces killers, terrorism. It's a theocracy that just blames the United States and Israel on all their problems. That's how they run their government. That's how they keep the people calm. Just call the United States and Israel devil since 1979. Very effective strategy. They progressed so much, very much. Very much. But no. The United States installed the Shah beforehand. So it's the United States that's evil. The mullahs, they're great. And BRICS is great. We should be scared of them. Yeah, we should be. Again, so let's say in the United States, we had a special visa, a special passport visa, whatever you want to call it, that anyone from the world could come to the United States. They would have to work in Alaska doing the hardest oil job in the coldest place. they would get paid well, or they could work in a nursing home in Alaska where it's very cold and wipe very sickly people's butts every single day. Tell me, how many people from these BRICS countries would gladly do that? It would be. So many would move here. Literally would move to Alaska to be slaves. Not that they'd be paid, but they live under brutal conditions to eventually become citizens of the United States. So again, let's be rational about this. You know what? I don't curse on the show, but that's what I would say to these BRICS nations and to the people that think that the BRICS are the up and coming thing. They don't have their act together at all. They don't have that. It's a joke. This is where the opportunity is. Okay, in the West. Okay, this is who's producing the artificial intelligence that all the countries think they should regulate. Well, it's evil Israel. It's evil United States. It's evil Japan. The countries that everyone hates, supposedly, that these nations filled with people hate. Yet they would be, darn well, they would be willing. Who does? It's so funny how great the United States is now. I've gone to many, many cities. We don't. There's a certain class of people now. Not class. I don't know. That's terrible. Who does our dirty work? Who does our dirty work now? It's only immigrants doing the construction. It's all the grunt work is done by people that don't even speak English anymore. That's the demand that's coming into our country. That's who wants to be in our country. Okay, I know there's some issues about vetting people properly and stuff. But dudes, everything that I just showed you tells you two things. The United States culture is the best freaking culture out there. The whole entire world knows it. And the United States controls the world. That's not a conspiracy type of thing. It is fact. The United States is the most powerful entity in the history of mankind. Okay? All right? Of man. Let's not get into the supernatural here. But the United States is the most powerful entity. And it's not getting weaker. The dollar? Yeah, we can print it and print it and print it and print it. And guess what? We're going to talk about stable coins in a second. More and more people want it. Okay? It's hilarious. It's absolutely because they know what's behind this country. So this country can never. The only thing that can hurt the United States is self-hatred based on this nonsense that people fall into this trap that we are the villains, we are wrong, and not see reality. No, the United States is correct. The United States is right. The United States is good. Our culture is good. The basics of it, that we're freedom of speech and freedom of association and freedom, to start your own business. Now, there's a lot of regulations that infringe on that, which is really unfortunate that we've gone in that direction. But we have not gone to the horrible depths that most countries have. And we live in a state of abundance that is unknown to mankind and is about to be taken to a whole new level by this artificial intelligence that is being innovated within the West and especially within the United States of America. So don't hate yourselves. Don't join this chorus of ignorance, blindly praising these BRICS nations. Yet it's something. China's got a circle of friends. It's obvious. They got a circle of friends governments that hate the United States. Do the people of those governments hate the United States? Do the people of those that live under those governments wish they could be in the United States? Think about it long and hard. Think about the worst case scenarios of working in the United States versus the average scenario of living in some of these BRICS countries where you can't even you can't even go to the toilet. Okay, it's no comparison at all. All right, so and people love to throw around the global South term like they're so smart and the global South is so special. There's some good countries south of the equator, but this global South concept is a BS concept, totally. Uruguay does not equal Mozambique. Don't mix it up, dudes. It's different, okay? There's some difference. You got to travel. You got to travel a little bit before you start making global South proclamations here, okay? But all right, I think I covered all that. I wanted to bring up HalvingHype again. HalvingHype was a hashtag I came up with in 2016 because in 2016 so few people knew about the halving that I thought it would be a good way to spread it on social media in the spring of 2016. So you can now I notice people are actually using the HalvingHype hashtag after 8 years. And you can, if you go back to the beginning, if you scroll through Twitter, you can see I was the first guy who was using it back in 2016. So that's kind of cool. You can use it. I used it for this to promote this, retweet the tweet that promoted this video, by the way. All right, what do we got here? 82% of the people in the poll said yes, so that's very good. All right, so let's see what else that we have here. People are talking about economically, China is not too far behind. Really? Per capita? Yeah, okay. Per capita, dude. They have over a billion people there, okay? Some of them are living in squalor you cannot even imagine, all right? I mean, it's unbelievable. And it's centrally, the dictator tells them what to do. I mean, and they randomly cut down on things when they randomly cut down on things. You don't know when you're going to lose your property, anything. Rule of law is questionable. But hey, you can. I mean, how many Americans are moving to China? How many Chinese are trying to sneak into buy property in Vancouver? I mean, that's not even the United States. It's close enough. I mean, it just shows you. I mean, they put their money. I mean, people talk a big game. Where's the money going? Where's the money going? Is the Chinese money? The Chinese don't want to keep their money in there. They're sad that Hong Kong they were storing their money in Hong Kong, and China took over that a little bit more, and they try to get it out of there other ways and stuff. All right, let's move on. By the way, this shirt you can't. Someone sent me this shirt like in 2016. It was a big silver fan. I don't think that turned out too well. All right, so it was a nice shirt, and it's it's winter, so I thought I'd wear a hoodie. All right, so we talked about the people that are just this false narrative that people have bought into about the BRICS. All right, I tweeted this week on my Twitter account, TechBalt, a quickly outside video I did about normies and Bitcoin and their adoption of Bitcoin, and how, dudes, you should not be holding your breath, because I'm telling you right now, if you told normies who owed people money, like, normie owed somebody $10,000 and said, hey, normie, you only have to, if you could figure out Bitcoin and figure out how to get $7,000 worth of Bitcoin over a reasonable time span, but if you really do it, you only have to pay the guy $7,000 in Bitcoin instead of $10,000 in cash. You give them a reasonable time period. Most of them will probably say yes, but there's going to be a significant percentage of them that are like, nah, I don't feel like learning. I'll just pay the $10,000 eventually. And I mean, think about that. And then a dude replied to a good guy replied to my tweet. He said he has a lot of clients. He often says if they pay in Bitcoin, they get a 20% discount, and like less than 1% of his clients take him up on the offer. So, I mean, there you go. Some empirical evidence out there that it doesn't look. So don't hold your breath on normie adoption of Bitcoin. They're going to adopt what they're told to adopt, which is the central bank digital currency. And don't be offended. Be offended by selling, but no, don't worry about it too much. Don't. I mean, you could try to be the messiah of the normies, but it's kind of a waste of your time, dudes. When like you can't even bribe these people with Bitcoin discounts to like buy a little bit of Bitcoin. It's all right, but that's linked to below. Everything I talk about is linked to below. So we're actually going to talk about Ethereum real quick because some of the Ethereum hate that's going on right now, and I just have to remind you guys, like, it's not a zero-sum game. It's not a zero-sum world. Like, Ethereum can do well and Bitcoin can do well. Ethereum doing bad does not guarantee you that Bitcoin is going to do good. But a lot of people think that. A lot of people like to have like this war mentality that there's got to be an evil and there's got to be a good, and we're at war with the evil. This is like, there could be a lot of goods. There could be a lot of different opinions out there and stuff. And hey, by the way, I'm not saying with the BRICS, if you really like the BRICS, go move to those countries. They are free to associate with each other and form their organization. I'm just trying to say the narrative around that is totally hyped up. That's all. So it's not a zero-sum game there either. Like, China could do well. I think they would have to implement some more freedom. Although, United Arab Emirates is doing pretty well. Ethiopia is getting better. I mean, they can do well, but they're going to have to change up. I mean, they're so far behind the United States in terms of in terms of culture that people want to replicate and just technological progress. It's apples and oranges type of stuff with some of these nations. But again, going back to Ethereum and Bitcoin, and it's not a war. I mean, these things at their base level are very neutral. I mean, they don't have these countries that we're talking about. They're not so neutral. They've got dictatorships versus democracy. Different types of things going on. But here, these things weren't created for evil reasons or anything. So because a lot of people just try to make Ethereum out to be the devil, and I'm trying to be the guy that's like, dude, we have lived through this before. We've seen Ethereum lose value to Bitcoin before, and then it comes back again. It's kind of cyclical, guys. So I don't want a lot of you guys to end up embarrassed when you say Ethereum is about to die and how happy you are about Ethereum dying, and then just showing that you're a total newbie. And some of you aren't newbies, and you still say that. You don't remember that this all happened before and it doesn't die. And here's another thing. The only other cryptocurrency that's scheduled to have an ETF is Ethereum. And I mean, BlackRock has filed to have an Ethereum ETF. And I think a couple others also have. And if they get approved, and it probably won't come the same time the Bitcoin will, but I mean, a lot of money will pour into Ethereum, and it'll go up at a faster rate than all the other altcoins. Than Solana, that's supposed to be the Ethereum killer. I mean, a lot of money, and something that I had not thought of. I mean, I learned different things. I learned things from these. I read a lot of different stuff. I linked to the article below, but I had never thought of this perspective. A lot of people like to rip on staking, and I explain what staking is. It's just, people choose to do the staking thing. Well, right now, it's different. Some companies are doing it, people are doing it. But if a Bitcoin ETF is approved, that is another step toward giving confidence. An Ethereum ETF is approved. It gives confidence towards some institutions and individuals who need regulatory clarity or need more regulatory clarity on Ethereum. And just to boil it down to a simplistic way, if Ethereum ETF gets approved, a bunch of corporations are going to start staking Ethereum. They're going to become Ethereum miners, right? Because they're going to be able to print their own money. It's instead of, and in one sense, some of them are going to see it. How Michael Saylor has a lot of his treasury in Bitcoin. Well, there are going to be other corporations, if they think Bitcoin and Ethereum are just as safe in terms of government regulation or just as kosher to the government, and they don't, and they want to be ESG compliant also, which is just total BS. Won't they store some of their value? If they're willing to store some of the value in Bitcoin, they'd be more willing to store some of their value in Ethereum because they're going to get 7% yield on it. They're just going to have to hire some kid for $120,000 a year to just maintain their Ethereum validator. And so, they could have millions of dollars worth of Ethereum, and the interest alone would pay for the kid's salary. I mean, that just shows you just a little bit of the kid's salary. And I'm saying kid because this goes to the golden age that we're living in, that if corporations go this route, and even if corporations go the simple route of just holding Bitcoin, they're going to have to hire people that know how to properly hold stuff, that know how to properly stake stuff, that know how to properly run validators, all these things that a lot of you are like, it's fake, it's a scam. Okay, cool. But there are people that have these, you can believe that if you want to, but there are people that have these skills that will be paid hundreds of thousands of dollars while you get paid nothing to scream about scams that don't exist. So that's cool. You could go you could be a tree and complain all day, be like Max Kaiser, whatever, complain. And you can have a skill for this. If you know how to run an Ethereum validator, I don't know how the heck to do that. That is a legitimate skill for the 2020s golden age, and you're going to be able to be paid hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to do that for some corporation. So I'm putting it all out there. Ethereum is not fiat. You can build smart contracts on Ethereum. Can you do that on the US dollar? Can you do that on a gold rock? Or there's just it's apples and oranges, people. It's totally different. And there you go. It's the way more Ethereum is produced is by this proof of stake thing. Hate it or love it. And people find value on built. They know that that's the way new Ethereum is being produced. They know that the stock, the supply of Ethereum is increasing, yet they're still willing to pay more for Ethereum. It's still going up in value because you can build useful things on it. Ways to trade your state. You can have stable coins and stake them on Ethereum smart contracts and be in one of those horrible third world nations that I mentioned beforehand. Most people in those third world nations could never. All the people in those third world nations could never open bank accounts with the United States and get less than 1% interest on their dollars. Yet, if they do use smart contracts on Ethereum or maybe Solana or whatever, look, they could just totally avoid the regulation of the United States government and get interest on their United States stable coins. And of course, people value their wealth in dollars, even in these countries that supposedly hate the United States. Why aren't they using Ethiopian currency that I don't even know the name of? You would think these countries are so great. They're buying Brazilian reals. They want Brazilian reals, all these people in all these nations. Yeah. Russian rubles, that's what they want? Yeah, sure. I don't know any stable coins that are based on Russian rubles or Brazilian reals. It's 99% of the stable coins are based on the United States dollars. So, and we're going to talk about it in a second. So enough about Ethereum. Stable coins are actually great for the United States dollar because a lot of you just hate the United States dollar. And yeah, but it's the best fiat out there. It's the one the world wants. They know our culture is the best. They know it's the most reliable country in terms of financial policy. And it changes at the whim of the Fed. But that's better than most nations. We don't have hyperinflation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Our leaders aren't as corrupt as the South African leader. But the previous South African leader, he built himself a few mansions or something, and the power wasn't working. It's unbelievable. But it's a great nation, very, very great. We shouldn't be worried about it. And yes, by the way, in Mozambique, they would rather have South African. The South African rand than the Mozambique currency, of course. This is true. But then they'd rather have the dollar than the South African currency. Why are stable coins good for the United States? It helps the brand of the dollar. And by the way, that at the beginning of the show, I talked about the Bitcoin, more people valuing their wealth in Bitcoin. That's the Bitcoin brand. I put that in the title. So Ordinals do help the Bitcoin brand because it's getting more people to think in a Bitcoin mindset. And it's just, again, network effect. It's all that builds the brand also. So I didn't use the term brand beforehand. I should have mentioned that beforehand, for all the marketing heads that are out there. And there are so few marketing heads in cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. And it is such a great opportunity because there's so many people in Bitcoin that think like marketing is some evil, nefarious thing. What a joke. We really need better communicators in the Bitcoin space. We need better marketing. You can make a lot of money in the space working for some of these Bitcoin companies or even for Coinbase or whoever, mixed companies. Even for Swan, they're great. They're actually very good with their marketing. But stable coins, stablecoin issuers have collectively become the 16th largest holder of US if they were a country. If stablecoin issuers were collectively a country, they would be the 16th largest holder of United States treasuries, holding more than Norway, South Korea, Saudi Arabia, Germany, Netherlands, Mexico, and United Arab Emirates. So the United States treasuries that are owned by that are backing up the stable coins, because they are backed up by something. So if the United States doesn't try to interfere in these stable coins companies, the stable coins will be some of the main buyers of United States treasuries. And everybody in the doom world says, nobody buys US treasuries. Well, guess what? The stablecoin people will just keep doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it if we don't interfere. So that's why just let the stablecoiners do what they're going to do. Let them buy US treasuries, United States government. It's helping the thing that you print and print. Okay, so I mean, this is and from a marketing point of view, it's most of the stable coins, the overwhelming majority are value listed in dollars, based around the United States dollar. So it increases more people want respect to the United States. More people want U.S. dollars. More people find value in U.S. dollars because of these stable coins. It reinforces the brand. All right. So there you go. Those are some fun facts about stable coins and U.S. Treasuries. February 7th, I'm going to be on here in Salt Lake City. We just had on Wednesday a Bitcoin meetup here. It's fun. It's one of the best, if not the best, Bitcoin meetup group in the United States. February 7th, apparently, I'm going to be on a panel at the Bitcoin meetup in Salt Lake City. I will tweet about it. If you want more information, just follow me on Twitter, send me a DM. Oh, let's see if there are any questions here in the. We've been live for 45 minutes. Let me see. No one's doing any of the questions. I mean, I thank Nomee Nome for the $20. We only need $80 more for a new show after this. All right. That's a funny one. That's someone. I read this. Again, you guys got to color things. 84% of people in the poll said yes. Very good. But someone says they think that Adam secretly likes Whitney Webb. See my previous show to understand why that is a joke. No, what is that? Whitney Webb is a. I don't know. She's in Max Kaiser land, but she's anyway. More men please themselves to her face, looking at her and listening to her than they do to listening and looking at Max Kaiser. Let's put it that way. Whitney Webb adds so little to the discussion. She just kind of frames things a little bit differently. Like there are so many just regular doomy guys who live in their mom's basements who aren't very attractive, who've been saying the same things that Whitney Webb has been saying for like years. And like people think what she's saying is so new and like cutting edge. And yet it's just so like depressing and sad. And like, yeah, you think there's a conspiracy. And yeah, you think some nefarious force that you can't really name that might have something to do with the World Economic Forum is trying to kill us all and take over every single aspect of our life. And what's the point of living? Why don't we just all be nihilists? And there's plenty of guys like that for 10 years out there. I mean, yeah, she's a real reporter, Adam. She's a real reporter. She has references, Adam. She makes references she links to people. Yeah. To other doomers that say very similar things. And I mean, what's the point? Like, what's the guy that had his own island with Bill Clinton on it and everything? I forgot his name. All the things that are coming out about Epstein. Like, yeah, Epstein was a bad dude. Should like we be depressed and like not like care about our lives and like send Whitney Webb and her reporters our Bitcoin in support because there's bad dudes out there and we can pretend we can make conspiracies about them because one knew another one and said hello to another one another time who was in a room with another one for 2 seconds and picked his nose on another one. Yeah. It's all referenced below. She's a real reporter. Yeah. All right. So we talked about that last show. Anyway, so all right. Oh yeah. But something here that connects it. I'm glad I mentioned that. The Max Kaiser, Whitney Webb conspiracy theorist types. They're just like on the opposite. They're just like the woke conspiracy people, but they're on like the opposite side of the spectrum. They're coming from a different angle. They both these cults believe that they know the truth. They know the real truth, the Gnostic truth. The woke people, they're awakened to the victims out there. They know that the victims are always right. Whoever it's a power game, and the ones who are weak, they know the truth, and the United States is evil. Everybody that's weak and poor, they're good, so they can attack the United States whenever they want to, because the United States is evil, and they know the truth because their leaders tell them, their woke leaders are in touch with some Gnostic secrecy. And the Max Kaiser types, they know these conspiracies. They know what's really going on with the banksters. And there's an elite cabal that's everything is to blame, the elite, and they know the truth. And so both these factions, that they don't really like each other, these factions, woke doesn't like the conspiracy theorist types very much, because they've got two different Gnostic sources. But in the end of the day, these groups know how things are really run behind the scenes. They know how things are really run. And the funny thing is, both these ways of thinking, these philosophies, which is being generous, both of these philosophies make stupid people feel informed, smart, and special. And that is what they both have in common. They make stupid people feel informed, smart, and special. So everybody wants to feel special, smart, and informed. So if you know what's really going on behind the scenes with the deeper you can go down the rabbit hole of victimhood or conspiracies, well, the smarter you must really be. All right. And you can be a reporter. But hey, they're free to do what they're going to do. I just wanted to comment on it and stuff. I study philosophies. So, all right. Last thing we're going to talk about is Israel, real quick. I think I covered everything else. Oh God, I hope I didn't skip anything. No, I did not. Did not skip anything. I hope not. All right. We'll talk about Israel real quick. One of the things out there that there are some people that are, they try to give like a third opinion on the situation. And I got to tell you, this opinion, this comment is kind of like a tell that they don't really know what they're talking about here. It's supposed to be like a hot take, but it's totally for engagement farming. And it's noise. It's engagement farming noise, what I'm about to tell you. It's not really a hot take or a smart take. They say, what really has to happen in Israel is they have to get rid of Netanyahu. That's the first step. Get rid of Netanyahu. He's the problem. He's the problem. He's very, very far right. So let's get rid of that. That's going to solve a lot of the problem. If they get rid, because there are a lot of people that don't like Netanyahu. Well, okay, let's analyze that situation real quick. And then we're going to be so much closer to a solution once Netanyahu is gone. Okay, this is just a distraction. Okay, he's nothing. He's nothing. He's a very small part of all of this. All right. Indeed, Netanyahu's government, they're going to be gone. All right. Right now, Israel is in a war with a terrorist organization that brutally, unbelievably, barbarically butchered its people. It's not a time to call for an election. There was no election scheduled. There's, a lot of people in the United States who have these hot takes. They don't like foreign interference in the United States election, but they think that countries should say, Israel, get rid of your leader, your elected leader. He's their elected leader. Now, when the time comes, they're going to be able to focus more on domestic issues. And guess what? He's gone. His regime isn't surviving this at all. So to say get rid of him now, they're not doing that. They're focused on having a war. Young men are being sent to be careful in tunnels, not to hurt civilians, okay? And it's horrible. When you go to war, you got to have all-out war, but no, not Westerners. No. If you're a Western nation, you're held to different expectations. And that's a different issue. But if they got rid of Netanyahu tomorrow and Benny Gantz or whoever became leader, they would still be doing basically the same thing that they're doing, being careful. It's not going to make that big of a difference. The Arabs aren't going to be like, oh, this is awesome. We have a new leader in Israel. No, they're not going to care. That's not their problem with Israel. Their problem is that Israel exists. Right? I mean, from the river to the sea, they don't want. They think it's theirs. All right. There's a large group of people that are not that just don't want Israel to exist. So it doesn't matter who the leader is. It doesn't matter if Netanyahu leaves tomorrow or anything like that. And they're not a far right government. I mean, they lean right on certain things, but he's been weak on all sorts of social issues, and it's not far right is just a disparaging term that really has no little meaning anymore, too. So it's like it's engagement farming. You kind of try to sound like you're smart, that you know what you're talking about, when you're like, well, here's another option. Let's just get rid of Netanyahu. I mean, there's a legitimate way of calling elections there and stuff. Like, so they should just have martial law all of a sudden, where you get rid of at a whim, you should get rid of the leader during a wartime period. That doesn't seem that seems kind of going in a backward direction domestically. And like, you should go in a backwards direction domestically is like giving like kind of a victory to the forces of that want your country gone. And so it's a silly thing to say. It's really, you're not really thinking, because he's going to be gone. Once things calm down and they can start really worrying more about domestic things. I mean, again, some people are starting to bring up how they had some issues with the Supreme Court and they don't have a constitution there. They're like, okay, that's not something to really worry about right now, when like they're at war with people that can infiltrate the country so easily. I mean, they got to take it one step at a time here, dudes. Okay, like they'll get to the domestic stuff, and it'll work out fine. It's you're not too. It's not too much of a hot take to say, let's get rid of Netanyahu. It's not that easy, and he's just he's doing what anyone would basically do at this point. That's in his war cabinet. And the people that are in his war cabinet are really the only other people that would have a chance of becoming or big names that could become leaders there. Because the way they do things there, it's by party and everything. Just let them worry about their domestic stuff, dudes. And if you have a comment on the overall situation, like, well, Israel should obliterate, they shouldn't care, they shouldn't differentiate between, they shouldn't worry about the civilians. They should be willing to pay the people of Gaza to just leave. I think that's a great solution, by the way. Just pay them and leave. Like, dudes, you can't be here anymore. I mean, it's just like, we'll give you money to just go to any country you want to. You can't come back. I think that's fair. But those are some interesting takes and stuff. But like, get rid of the elected leader. That's not making too much of a difference. He's going to be gone. And he was a failure. He'll be remembered as a failure. It was a failure. It definitely was a failure. All right, because of what happens. Unacceptable in any country for that to happen. The leader has to, I mean, I'm not a statist or anything like that. But I mean, if something like that happened in the United States of America, God forbid, and by the way, it could. The federal government should hold the responsibility there. I mean, they're the ones that are talking about protecting us from every single evil on earth through economic repression, and but yet, if something like that happened here, there'd be no excuse at that point, and there'd be no, once the election came around, that person would not be reelected. I mean, logic, I don't see, but it would have to be done in a, like, you don't want to have like, it would not be right, it would not be civilized to get rid of that leader beforehand. Now, the Congress could do it in a civilized way. Impeachment, if it was really, really went down to the president. But at the same time, if such an attack happened in the United States, it would be the Congress's fault too, probably, because they didn't do something. I mean, it depends on the exact scenario there, okay? But so I don't know if they would go the impeachment route, because they themselves, many of them should have been impeached under such a scenario. Okay, everybody, you have 1 minute to ask any more questions. We're at the 59-minute mark, and we're ending this at an hour. Steve is in the house. Steve is a guy in Salt Lake City. He's an awesome dude. He's in motion. You weren't there this month, but I'm sure you'll be there next month to hear me talk. Someone said Zach says my Israeli bosses don't like Netanyahu and thought it was weird that people breached the security. It was weird that people breached the security. It was a complete failure. It shows that the best technology on earth, some barbarians can breach it. It's kind of unfortunate. When people are barbaric enough, they can get through the best security. So what are you going to do if you have barbarians like that at the gate? What are you going to do? And once they kill your women and children, what are you just going to be like, yeah, we're just going to leave the barbarians at the gate and keep doing what we were doing beforehand? No, you're going to destroy them. But yes, many people don't like Netanyahu. Many people, it's not, the majority of Israelis never really could, not never, but recently couldn't. They were very close elections. There's many different parties in Israel. It's different than America. So some people would say that that's better. The people have more say. It's a matter of opinion. There's many different parties there. You got to form coalitions, and it's an interesting combination of things. But plenty of people. But a lot of people think like Netanyahu is this larger than life figure, so rightist. They love him there so much. Nah, he's not that right. There are people that are right of him, and not that many people love him. And now that's it. He'll be done. It's over. It's over for him. So it's not going to really solve too much. But he needs the current regime needs to get what they deserve, which is they should not be the leaders anymore. It's complete failure. Complete, really bad failure there. And they can get into. There was all sorts of great monitoring that was going on. I mean, guess what? The Israeli army is a government bureaucracy, just like any Western bureaucracy. What's been going on in Western bureaucracies lately? There's a lot of lowering of standards. Guess what? There's some people in the Israeli bureaucracy, in the Israeli military, that are total failures that get promoted for being failures. The Israelis are not that special in terms of that. Okay, a lot of people like to think that because the Jews are all super geniuses and so efficient. No, there are plenty of people that are just complete losers. And there's bureaucracies in every nation. And when the federal government grows so important and large, and you're going to have people move up that they're not qualified. That's just the nature of the beast. And that rot happened. There's a communist party in Israel. There's socialist parties in Israel that want their people promoted through these various bureaucracies. Okay, and again, communist party in Israel is less than 5% for all you conspiracy theorists out there. Less than 5% of the population. So they'll go on your I love people like Marx was a Jew. Oh God, it never ends. They say the Jews are communists. The Jews are like Ayn Rand. Guess what? There are a lot of Jews that are intellectual people, and they get into every single philosophy out there. So any philosophy, as evil, as good as it may be, you're going to have Jews in it. I mean, it's just ridiculous. But again, my point is that, there are plenty of people that can make mistakes in the Israeli bureaucracy, even at the monitoring of the fence level. So someone could fall asleep at the job. I mean, all sorts of things could happen. And they were giving visas to workers from Gaza who were spying on Israel, who were figuring the whole thing out. It was pretty well planned. Yeah. It's as if other organizations outside of Israel were outside of the Gaza Strip were helping the Gazans. Some country somewhere funding it. Who knows? Who knows? Everybody knows. Everybody knows who funds Hezbollah. Everybody knows. That's for another day. Pound that like button, everybody. This is not the Beyond Bitcoin show. I'm Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Pound that like button and retweet this, spread the word. It's nighttime. I appreciate it. That you're here tonight. And a lot of people aren't going to find out about the show because it's nighttime. But spread the word. We'll have another show real quick. Thanks for the $20. We only need $80 more. Nomee Nome, you rock. And everybody that watched the show rock tonight. See you soon. Pound that like button. Thank you, everybody.